to win.
Alright guys, Bill back with more Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Listening to the Big Brother Roundtable from RGP. But we're going to continue on.
Sorry, audience.
We got through these first 4 levels last episode.
Let's go for it. Let's see what we can do here with the Stock Watch ratings. I still barely even know what I'm going to do here.
I know. I don't even know. I was like, well, at least.
So I wonder, are they going to do a Tony Hawk's 3 and 4?
I don't even know if that's going to
Because obviously this was like really successful.
Literally, my first bullet point for Beth is Kiefer leaving is a big result for Beth.
That would be cool. I really would like a 4 remake.
Cross that off. Yeah, it's bizarre because any number I had in mind this entire day is just completely out of the window, and I'm sitting here just racking my brain like, what do I even do? Well, maybe what do the audience do for Beth?
The problem is that the audience is going off of the fact that Kiefer's leaving. So I can't even go to the audience and be like, well, what's the baseline here?
Audience is like 9. 9 for Beth. Yeah, I don't know. Oh God, this is hard because I do think, especially for Beth. So great that we're starting off with Beth, but I think especially for Beth, the result of this week matters. Yep. Like, I do think that if Kiefer goes home, she's in a much better place than she would be if Kiefer stays. And I think that that affects my rating. I honestly that really affects it because I think that Beth. This would be big for Beth. I mean, I think out of the trio, I think Beth benefits the most from Kiefer going home. I don't know if she's hurt the most by Kiefer staying though. I just feel like, it's not as good of a result if Kiefer stays. However, I think if I'm Kiefer, I'd be most upset with Jed, and
so we just need
that would make the move worse if keeping Kiefer for Jed.
Fuck off.
I don't know if you guys agree with me. I mean, to me, if I'm Kiefer, I would be upset with Jed because I'd be like, I wanted to take Jed, and now Jed is the one who betrayed me. He is the one who had the power.
I think the thing here is the vibe that I'm getting from Kiefer, and it's the story that Beth has been telling, is that Beth is probably kind of the reason Kiefer went up, and Kiefer talked to Jed and then Ty about trying to keep him in the game, and then he told them that they would need to convince Beth. He does not feel like Beth is the one that is going to keep him. He feels like Beth is the one that tried to get him out, and that Beth will then have failed, which I think will reach the jury that Beth tried it and didn't work.
So it's especially bad for Beth.
I think so, but it's hard to know because we don't even know that the move is going to even go through, let alone what the impact is going to be. So it's like...
Right, because also, this is so new, too. It happened, 30 minutes before we started podcasting, so it's not even it's been a full day and it's still kind of lingering, we think it's going to stick. It could just be, right after this podcast is over, Kiefer's going home again.
Yeah, and even if he does stay, normally we have a few days for things to sort of settle in and see what is the result of this. We can predict what the result might be, but you never know for sure. For all we know, they're going to be like, oh, what a great move, Beth, for keeping Kiefer, which I really doubt will happen, but we have no idea what the remotest reaction will be from this. So we can only guess, but my guess is that this will hurt Beth, especially because she has been touting this as her move. And so if it fails, if it goes through, then or if it falls through, then I think that's really going to hurt.
I never did finish running through the plans, did I?
Kiefer staying by her own words,
I think I ran through Wednesday, but yeah, Thursday,
So
Thursday, Friday are going to be up in the air
because
I don't know fully what's going to be going on.
I would be feeling really strongly about Beth right now if the move was going to go through. If Kiefer was going to go home, I would be playing up I do think Beth is, has a much better chance of winning now. But if Keith stays, I think she has a worse chance. So I feel like I'm stuck in the middle, and this might hurt Beth's stock watch. But I feel I don't know. It really depends on if Kiefer is going to stay or not. And I know that and I also know that a lot of weeks we don't know who's going home. But I feel like this one especially affects the ratings just because, like, it's somebody from their alliance that they are betraying. Like, it's not just like, oh, well, is it going to be, you know, Austin or Brayden? It's like, no, this is somebody that they're betraying here. Yeah. This is like a failed back door.
Yeah, so talking it through, let me say, I was going to give her a 6 because I felt like this was a big thing for her. I did give her a 6 last week, but I was also, last week she was talking about not going to the end with the guys. This week she is talking about going to the end with the guys, and so that was going to sort of temper the potential rise that she was going to get from me. But the combination of her wanting to go with the guys and potentially keeping Kiefer and everything else that we talked about, I think I have to. And this is unfortunate because it really could be an hour from now they decide they're not going to go through with it and everything goes back to normal and she really should have received a 6. But right now, when I'm not sure which way it's going to go, I think I have to side on or err on the side of caution and say I'm going to go with a 5.
I was going to say the same thing because I gave her a 6 last week and I wanted to give her a 6 again this week because I do think she's in a decent position.
Okay.
I think that like if Kiefer goes, she's in an even better position. But yeah, no, I think I really honestly I'm about to be like 5s across the board, but yeah, 5.
So for me, I would be higher on Beth because, like, even with this Kiefer decision, because this hasn't, you know, what's happened in, you know, the last hour, that wasn't her decision. That was Jed coming to her, and of course, you know, we'll get more updated on what is going to happen and what they're really thinking, what she's thinking outside of, you know, Jed just thinking this is a great idea. But the fact that she wants to go to the final 3 with these 2 guys is what's killing me and is the reason I have to give her a 4. If she had maintained everything she was saying in the past couple of weeks, knowing that, you know, if I go to the end with them, I would give her a 5. I would give Beth a 5. You know, knowing that they could end up taking each other, like, you know, she doesn't have a ring on her finger. There's no guarantee that Jed is taking her to final 2. So it's like, you know, like,
I think
why on earth would you ever go to the final 3 with 2 people that are that tight? So yeah, I have to give her a 4.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you know, it could very well be right. I think, like, really the thing here is reading into how much do we think this will impact not only her path to the end, but also her potential jury performance. And it gets harder and harder to see her taking a win over.
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I just realized this probably
Jed.
wraps around.
But I don't see how she gets there with Ty, unless she's willing to cut Jed, which she's not, or unless Ty is willing to cut Jed, which I don't think he is.
There we go.
So, her versus Jed, I just don't see her taking that win at this time, and that's whether Kiefer left, which made Jed look good and her look good, or if Kiefer stays, which makes her look bad and Jed look bad.
I
don't
get
know
it.
that she's making enough of a difference either way. The audience, and this is kind of a first, especially for a player like Beth, going off of information that is not that Kiefer might leave, actually gave Beth a 6. So the highest on Beth. This might be the first time ever that the audience has given a like one of the most hated players in the game. And you know what? I'll spoil the favorite list here. Never mind, she's not at the bottom. She's close though. She's close.
I don't know why people don't like her. Like, to be honest, I like her. And I feel like
I'm annoyed by Beth.
I like the fact that she like talks to the cameras and like tells us what's going on through her head, and I think she's playing a good game, and I don't know. I mean, I obviously don't like the fact that she's now saying she's gonna go to the end with the trio. But like,
fuck off.
I like her. I don't get it. What is it? Explain to me why people don't like her. I haven't seen anything yet that makes me not like her, so I don't get it.
Like, for me, it's like, okay, take Ty and Jed out of the equation, then maybe I would be higher on Beth just as a person. But then it's like, I'm toying with her as a person and her as a Big Brother player. I think she's doing a good job as a Big Brother player, but then just the situation she has going on with Ty and Jen, and then just some of the comments that she's made, it's just been kind of icky. And so I just have that view of like, you know, she is, it's kind of like an experiment for her to be with these two guys, and you know, now she's settled on Jed, so it's more solid there. But I don't know, it's weird. I am always, so I know what you were saying, Taryn, about like how people are harder on the woman in the showmance, but for me, I feel the same way about Jed. I think Jed needs to cut Beth. I think that it's dumb for him to want to go to the inn with her. I think that he needs to be thinking
the wrong way, by the way.
solely about his game and not just on, oh, she's my showmance, I should go to the inn, or even Ty's my boy, we should go to the inn. I think he should just be thinking of how can I win against the person that's easier to win against, like you said, Melissa. So for me, I think that's mainly what it is. I think this showman situation is has kind of pushed me away from liking Beth as much. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Big Brother fan base will always dislike some of the players to almost the same degree, no matter the severity of their crimes. So, you know, there's always going to be the worst person in the house or the worst people in the house.
Right.
And they will receive similar levels of distaste and dislike as people who may deserve it even more from other seasons, right? Because in comparison, they are the worst, and people are used to hating the worst. So I think that, you know, that one of those people, I think this season is Beth. She has made, you know, the things that she has said about Ty and Jed in comparing them, and some of the ignorant comments that she's made. Yes, exactly. There are definitely reasons to be like, this is like not what I would want to hear from Beth. But like certainly if we compare her to much worse, she's not much worse, right? She is just somebody. I think that compounding with that, because there's a difference, right? Tara also has done some not great things, some microaggressions, especially earlier in the season. But Tara right now is sort of a feisty underdog, and so it's kind of just like we're enjoying it though. Whereas Beth is the villain of the season right now. The person who
I literally don't see that. It's so crazy to me. Like, I do not see her as a villain literally at all. Like, the one of the things I did see that I didn't quite like was when she was like, oh yeah, I couldn't work with Austin. Like, I came into this not wanting to work with girls, which like I hate, but like so I don't love that. But like, nothing that I've seen that she's done has made me like hate her. And I also feel like a lot of the stuff that like I've been hearing that people don't like about her are things that to me are like making a good game player or like game related things. Like, to me, like people are like, oh well, she's really fake, and it's like, well yeah, you're playing Big Brother. Like, so when she says stuff like to Brayden, like, oh we're like best friends, blah blah blah, and then the second Brayden leaves, she's like, oh I hate floaters or whatever, like that whole thing, like that to me is like, that's just playing the game. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Oh, fuck off.
And I don't know if that's like that's the reason. I'm just saying, like, there are people who are like, and maybe that's just one of those things where they don't like her, and then everything she does is like annoying to them. And so it's like, that's maybe just like one little thing that if they liked her, that they'd be like, yeah, go Beth, like you're playing him, blah blah blah. But like, so to me, like, I guess like I'm viewing it, and I do know that like, I'm not gonna like fully relate it to this, but like, I don't know, with like Kayla in Big Brother, what was it? Big Brother 6?
Canada 6.
Yeah, Big Brother Canada 6. Like I loved Kayla, and I knew there were like a lot of people that did not like Kayla, and I knew like a lot of people liked Kayla too. But like, Kayla like was not like probably not the easiest person to get along with, but like I viewed a lot of it as game related, and I didn't view a lot of it as like personal. And I feel like that's how I'm kind of viewing Beth, but maybe it's possibly like a rose-colored glasses thing where I'm like thinking that everything she's doing is game related, and
I don't think everything she's doing is game related at all.
And I don't know, but I think it's to me like, I'm always shocked when I hear that, oh, people hate Beth, or like, oh, I hate Beth. I'm like, wait, well, how could you like hate her? Like, I can understand like not like loving her, or like not even liking her, but like hating her. I feel like that's like too far from me. I don't even have strong opinions about literally anyone in the cast.
What community do you think you're in right now?
I don't know, and I think it's possibly because like normally like I can understand why, because like a lot of the people, like some of the people in the cast, like do deserve to be like hated. No offense to them, but if they're being like racist or like a bully or whatever, like obviously like that is a very different scenario. But I do feel like this cast, maybe it's because like this cast I'm looking at with rose-colored glasses, because I'm like, there's nothing to hate about this cast. It's one of the least problematic casts we've had. And so I'm like happy about it, and I'm just sitting there like smiling and like going along for the ride, and everyone else is like, no, but we hate Beth, or no, we hate Tara. And like I'm like, I'm just so used to like the other reasons why we hate people versus like, oh, they're fake, that like it's kind of throwing my like, you know, perception out of whack.
I see a large majority of people like on Twitter normally are just not a fan of her. Like Taryn, you were saying, it's like of the people in the house, this is the person I like the least. But for Beth, it's been like the comments that she's made outside of the game, such as like comparing Ty and Jed's sizes, saying that Jed's hair feels like hair that is other parts of your body. Doing things like, saying, I've never been with a black guy and now I have two. So it's like these little comments she's made like since the beginning of the game. It's just like, ugh. So that I saw some of the people in the chat saying like, what were the icky comments? Those.
Well, yeah, and I think that's part of my issue. Is like I'm like, what are the problematic comments? Because like I try and stay away from like a lot of like the Twitter controversies and things like that, and so I try like not, especially when it's like not game related, when it's like
where's this
I don't know, like when it's like the number one, like the family issues or like things like showman stuff or like the comparing sizes thing. I was like, I'm staying away from this one. I don't want to have anything to do with this. So like I didn't like fully look into that, and that's why like I do want to know like what has been said, and like I'm glad you like said it, 'cause, like that stuff is not good, obviously. And so like that would bother me for sure. I mean, I think like obviously like, well, I don't know. I just think that like, I mean, the stuff that I see when it's talking about game related stuff that Beth does that makes like that stuff, I'm like, I don't get why you hate it, but it makes sense. Like if someone's hating someone for something else, and then it like kind of just like floats into the rest of it, that makes sense.
Well, I think the confusing part probably for you and maybe for a lot of people is that at the end of the day, there is a whole plethora of people who dislike Beth. And some of them dislike her for the comments she's made, and some of them dislike her for all kinds of reasons, right? It is not a uniform group of people who all believe the same things and dislike her for the same reasons. It's a whole bunch of different reasons, and not all of the reasons are probably as justifiable as others, right? Now, there are justifiable reasons to feel uncomfortable about some of the things that Beth has done, but I'm sure there are also people out there that are just like, you know, and I saw some of this early on in the season. They just didn't like that she was with two men at the same time, and thought that she was, you know, a certain kind of woman because of that. And that's certainly not a very justifiable reasons to dislike Beth, right?
We will not shame women on this podcast.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, like, there's always, when it comes to, you know, reasons to not like somebody, there's always going to be a whole host of them, and sometimes you'll find that they're justified, and sometimes you'll find that maybe they're not. But in this one, there are a lot of people who have come together with a common cause, it seems.
Well, apparently Jed's mom was on live with Latoya, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yes.
See what was said.
Jed's mom is not a fan. Yeah.
And he strikes me as the type of guy who really values his mom's opinion. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a massive Beth segment. Let's talk about Brayden. Because man, Brayden's a bit of a difficult one here as well. I don't think that he is out of this game. And
yeah, I already saw that Brayden gets a 5. He should not have gotten a 5.
I feel like Kiefer staying is worse for Brayden, because I think that there is a decent chance that Kiefer does put Brayden on the block next week. I think that it makes it harder for Brayden to win next week. I think it makes it it now becomes 3 versus
I think it
2,
also
whereas
solidifies
before was at
them.
least only 2 other people that would put Brayden on
Where's
the block.
this
Now
last
there's potentially
hydrant?
3.
Like, why am I
It
not
also
finding
removes
this?
the threat of a duo. Why would you get rid of Brayden when you can break up a pair in Tina and Tara? And they would have to go
there it
through
is.
this whole
I see
thing
it
with
now.
Kiefer again if they wanted to make the move on him. So I do feel
There
like
we
this
go.
has worsened Brayden's position in the game. I'm
Is that
also
everything?
still just
That is everything.
very
Okay.
confused about where his head is at in regards to the game. He still seems to feel like he is going to be targeted by
Grind 5
Tara,
tables.
and I don't
Try
know
that.
why. He seems to feel like he's in good with the trio, and he shouldn't. I just don't know. And so, I don't know. Let me tell you, I was at a 5 for
I don't
Brayden.
know why he would have Brayden.
If Kiefer stays, I feel like that's very generous. I feel like it should be a 4, but I don't know that Kiefer's going to stay. So I'm kind of torn right now. And when it comes
Where
down
is
to
that?
it, I just feel like I haven't gotten anything from Brayden, and so I think I'll go with the 5 just because I don't know.
I think
for
that's
sure
too
that the
high
Kiefer
for
thing
Brayden.
is gonna stick 100%, but man, does it feel generous? I've gotta say.
I feel the same. I'm waffling between a 4 and a 5 right now for Brayden because I feel like I had a lot of faith in his game last week
I
when I
have
felt
no
like he was
faith
getting
in his
in with
game.
the trio. And when he was like solidifying a place with them, but now that this week comes and they're just annoyed with him and they don't like him
even
and
if he
don't want to work
solidifies
with
with
him,
the
and he's
trio,
not
it's like
even
they're
really
not
working
picking
with them.
them
He's just kind of
like
like
him
hanging
over
out with
them.
them, and he's not like trying to ingratiate himself with any of them. Like I thought for sure, like he saw Beth as like his in, and he was gonna like be like, look, like Beth, you can't win if you make it to the end with those guys. I want to go with you to the end. Like we need each other, that sort of thing. I thought that
that
was
was
going to
me
be his
being an
path
idiot.
forward, and I
thought
see that.
the
If anything,
grind
Beth's
was gonna
just thinking
end
of him as a floater and
so I let
doesn't
go.
trust him, and that's not good. And now that Kiefer is going to stay, if Kiefer stays, Kiefer is telling the cameras or telling Jed and all them, even telling Tara that he's going to put up Tara and Brayden if he stays. So, like, I don't know if that's true. It could just be something he's saying so that the trio will keep him. And I hope that's the case. But, like, it's totally possible that next week Brayden goes up and that's it for him. Like, and I don't see, I think part of the problem is we're not hearing Brayden's strategy talk. So it's not like I can, land on anything like, well, at least Brayden is saying this to us and we know the true feelings of Brayden. Like, we don't even know. So that's what concerns me about him. That's why I'm going back and forth. And I think I have to agree with Taryn that, like, we don't know if Kiefer's going to stay. And if Kiefer doesn't stay, he's in a better spot. He's not in a great spot, but he's in a better spot.
Yeah.
So I think I just have to five across the board.
I'm looking at my Beth rating though, and this is such a mess because I'm doing this on the fly. But like, I feel like Beth has way more win equity than Brayden does at this point. So I feel weird about giving Brayden a 5 when Beth is a 5. And I looked at the audience rating, and they gave him a 4, and that was before the Kiefer thing.
Shoot. God, do I change my brain to a 4?
Brayden should not be a 5.
Wait, so I was going back and forth with Brayden, and then Taryn convinces me 5. And now Taryn's like, actually, I'm going back because the audience has convinced me otherwise.
Oh, man.
Maybe I give him a 4. Wait. Okay, so audience gives him a 4. So what do you give him?
So I'm higher on Brayden than Beth at the moment because Brayden stayed off the block.
Higher on Brayden
in this
than Beth.
situation where
I don't know how
the
you could be
person
higher on
of the
Brayden
trio
than Beth.
that he is the least closest with, whether, Beth says, Brayden gets on her nerves or whatever, they still had a relationship. And he managed to stay off the block with Jed as the HOH. And he has been in a position to get information, whether they have stopped at a certain point, but he's still able to get some information. I mean, Beth still talks to him from time to time, and I think that he's been in a good position. You would think after Austin left, he would have been just the easy person to go, but he has managed to just continue to be the lovable Brayden that he is. So I'm not waffling. I am a 5. So I'm not going to move down to a 4. I am a 5. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it's like
Oh,
I
fuck
feel
off.
like I was hoping for more from him, and I was seeing it last week. And I feel like even though he's not
Well, I mean, at this
a
point, we don't have
target
enough
this.
time,
I
do
guess
we?
I guess I do have to give to him that he's not on the block this week.
Well, but he was
So,
going
like,
to be.
Anything could happen next week. He's
Through
not going
no
home right now.
action of his
like,
own.
And so to his credit, like he's not going home
Oh,
right
fuck,
now.
okay. Is that too scared though?
I'm gonna drop him to a 4.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
me.
you gotta go down to a 4. It's like, this is so, like...
I personally can't give him that same rating. I gotta go to a 4.
All right, well then I'll stick with my 5.
All right, there we go. That's it. We're done. No more.
We're done with Brayden.
That's it.
How the again, like, how the fuck can you give
Oh my
Brayden a 5?
God.
It's like, I legitimately
Okay,
just don't understand how you give Brayden
moving
a
on
5.
to
Like, he was literally going home this week
moving on
and got
to
saved
Jed.
through, like, absolutely
That's, like,
nothing
going
that he
nuts.
did.
Please.
The chat's like he deserves a 7. No, he deserves a 3.
Yeah, it's like, I
this is
don't
where
know,
we're
I
at
can't
right now.
even- Yeah, I can't even rely on the chat at this point. Usually the chat's like pretty standard, similar ratings, and
Yeah.
right now they're all over the place. Oh, okay.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah,
Jed.
this is what's happened. The triangle has infected our minds
Yes.
with waffles.
We are our own triangle, right?
All right, here's one I feel more confident in personally. I was going to give Jed a 7. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 6. I feel like he is still, even with the Kiefer move, still in a pretty good place. I do think that this Kiefer move is a big potential setback. If this really ruins his jury chances, then it could be a bigger setback. But for right
Isn't there
now,
a
I feel
robot
like
song?
he is.
Oh, fuck, I
And
must have
everything that I
fucked
wrote
it
is
up.
useless if they keeps Kiefer. I had so much here. Look, just win competitions, Jed. Just win competitions, you'll win this game. That's why he's a 6.
Yeah.
Asia, what do you
And
think?
I was just gonna say that like my rating actually for Jed is gonna
Oh, there
go
it is.
up,
Fuck.
and that's because my rating for him was so low. I was Jed, Ty, and Roe were at
There we go.
4s last week because of the double. I thought they all had a total chance to go home in the double, and now that he's survived the double and his HOH surviving this week, I do feel like I have to bump him up. So I'm gonna give him a 5, even though this Kiefer move. I think
Do we
if
still
he
need, like,
were to get
6
rid
or
of
something?
Kiefer, I would have brought him
3,
up to
okay,
6.
that's not as bad.
Maybe a 7, because at that point he honestly was like in the lead to win. Now that he's possibly going to like keep Kiefer, and I just feel like this is not a great move if he keeps Kiefer. So I'm just going to give him a 5.
Yeah, and let me just say that even if Jed is our front runner right now, it is not because of his strategy.
Yeah.
It is entirely because he's a social guy and he can win comps. This guy would listen to a telephone poll if it told him to evict whoever, right? Like he changes his mind after every conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so back and forth between two numbers.
Wait.
Only because
What is the thing? Coffee
yes,
grind.
he does get credit for making it through the triple. I mean, but I think the entire trio should get credit for making it through the triple.
Should they,
and
though?
not hitting the block at all. I feel like they got so lucky that Kiefer won. I think if
Again,
anybody
yeah,
else had
that's what
won,
I'm saying.
at least one of them could have been up on the block, but if not all three, with the veto being used or whatever.
Oh,
And
fuck
I'm
off.
just
That
so
was-
torn because even though he wins HOH, I would have been higher on him had he not decided that we should keep Kiefer.
There we go.
Like, no, what's done is done. He is up. You have betrayed him. You can't you pour out water and then try to scrape it off the concrete back into the cup. Like, that's literally what he's trying to do. The damage is done. So,
I spent so much time on
because
this.
of that, I do have to give him a 4.
Ooh, all right. Well, I can tell you that the audience is up at a 6 with me. But who knows where that would have gone, had he decided to keep Kiefer earlier. So, I don't know. Let's move on to Kiefer. Let's talk.
Oh my god, we have 5s across the board so far, like we said. Oh my god. Oh god. This is such a weird Stockwatch week. Okay.
Man. All right, let's talk about Melissa. Start us off here with Kiefer.
Yeah, oh man.
So I know there's one down
I was
there.
Gonna go way lower on Kiefer because
So we
he
need
was
to
going
find this last
home.
one.
Now
wait,
he
no,
might
that's the one
stay,
that I was thinking.
but I don't feel so great about him still because he.
Oh, that's not,
I guess,
okay. No,
and I
that's
guess
awesome.
this could also change depending on if he's telling the truth or not about like, oh, I'm gonna stick with the trio. Like, if he actually is
I think he's
legitimately
on
planning on sticking with the trio after they tried to send him home and almost did.
All right, let's try to get the
like after
tape
they
here.
backdoored him
I think that's
essentially.
doable.
Then I don't think he's playing the right game. I don't think he's doing it right. However, like coming into
It
this
doesn't
week,
matter though, does it?
I thought that he was in such a good position to win. So like I'm feeling weird about Kiefer because I was ready to give him a very low score considering he was walking out the door. Now that he's not, I'm honestly going between a 3 and a 4. Just because I don't know what's going to happen. I think if he stays, he has a very good chance of winning this game. I think he might make the wrong move moving into next week if he like wins HOH and has to put 2 people on the block. But I think that he has good chances of winning. Like he's good at these competitions. So if he can make it through this week, I think he has a really great chance of winning, especially if he gets to the end. I think that the jury is going to really respect this. I think they're going to be like, wow, you were doing so great this entire time. They already are like ranking him number 1 as on their list. And then to be like, yeah, I got backdoored and I got out of it. That's very, very rare. So,
I was not sure
I'm gonna give him a 4
about
just because I don't know whether he's staying.
I fucking hate the fucking Big Brother fans. Oh my god,
I'm
no,
gonna give him a
backdoor, pin the veto. It's like it doesn't
interesting because
fucking matter,
I thought about the 1 for Keith because I felt like he put himself here and there should be no chance he stays. But then I was like, nope. Can't give him a 1 with the trio in charge. So I was going to go with a 2 because I felt like there was an off chance that if he stopped just lying down and dying, he could stay. And lo and behold, before I even could give him the rating, there we go.
Damn it.
So it's going to be a 3 for me. If he stays, the problem is, even though I do think he is still a dark horse to win this thing, he's still in a position where if he wins next week and he does stay true to the trio, he's putting himself in a spot where he has to win veto at Final 5, has to win HOH or veto at Final 4, and has to win the Final 3 HOH. That's a lot of winning out. And Kiefer's good at comps, but I don't know if he's that good at comps. All it takes is 1 good physical competition, and those guys are going to cream him. So that's something to be concerned about.
How
Even if he doesn't make a bad decision, maybe he doesn't win next week and survives, and then he still has to win out, or it might be in a position where he has to win out. His best case scenario is if Tara or Brayden win the HOH, take a shot at the trio for him, and then he maybe has a little bit more room to play. But I still don't see anyone taking him to the end after he survives this week. They will all look at him as, I think, the biggest jury threat left in the game. And so he will need to win his way there. And while I do think that's possible, it's still a tough road, plus the fact that he could very, very well end up evicted this week. So it's going to be a 3 for me. Asia, what do you think?
Yeah, so all valid points. Kiefer, I mean, he was talking about self-evicting earlier. He is in a very I mean, there's a clear path to send him home this week. Even if he survives this week, I can see the trio being like, okay, we didn't send him home, but we can send him home next week if one of them win. Or they see him as, if they didn't see him as expendable before, they definitely see him as expendable now. They're like, okay, we can get him up on the block. We can send him home. I just think that there's no way that anybody is going to want to take him or like in a situation where he gets pulled to the final 2. I don't think that that's going going to happen in any scenario at this point, especially with how Brayden is positioned with the trio and how, Tara,
I fucked that up. God damn it.
Their fight, who's to say, Tara's not secretly holding on to that no matter where their relationship is right now. She's going to think back to this unnecessary argument they had during the competition. So I say all that to say that I'm giving Kiefer a 3, and that's based on him staying or going this week.
There you go. Can I just say, I wrote a whole thing about Kiefer's game and all season. I gave him a eulogy. It was great. It was beautiful. It would have made everyone cry, but now I can't use it.
I thought I had it.
All right. Next up, the audience. The audience gave Kiefer a 3 this week. There you go.
Damn it.
So next up is Tara. Asia, how do you feel about Tara?
So Tara is an interesting one because, I feel how she feels. No matter what she does, she's not winning. So I think even in a situation where she happens to be in a final 2 with Brayden, I think that it could very well be Brayden who takes the win. So in that situation,
I thought I had it.
Well, then do I look at, okay, her position in a game in terms of making it to the end and winning, or just her not being evicted? And she would be so easy to keep along at this point. At some point, if they get out Tina, it's going to be even easier to justify bringing Tara because people know they're going to beat her. And so it's not like it's not like she's done anything to put herself in this position, but she kind of has, in terms of not having this spectacular social game. So it's so tough with Tara, but you do have to think about, is she playing a good game? Is she expendable? So it's tough. She did win the veto this week. So that's kind of what, good job. Or else you would have been going home. So I will have to give her, because she could easily make it to the end. This is so hard. It's weird. I can't. I can't give her the same as Beth and Jed. That would be crazy. So I'll have to give her a 3.
Yeah. I actually, I was at a 5 for Tara earlier today.
Really?
Because here's the thing: winning a veto to save your own life in the game, whether or not she actually would have gone home, right? It's still, she was on the block, she was ostensibly the target, she wins a veto, saves her own life. That gives you a lot of credit in the game and out of the game. I've always said about Tara, I don't think she can win, but I was never going to go too low on her because there was always a chance that she was going to go on some kind of endgame comp run, right? And she started it here with a veto, and she started to do some work as well. She worked her way in with Beth. She worked her way in with Jed. And up until that conversation, and this is not to do with Kiefer staying so much as the conversation between Beth and Jed, where Beth was really convinced that she had Tara. And Jed really worked hard to be like, no, you do not have Tara. She is tricking you. She is playing this game. I think that's not great for Tara. It was looking like Beth was going to try and bring Tara to the Final Four. That's looking a lot less likely. First of all, if Kiefer stays, because it's her and Brayden up on the block, and who knows what happens from there. And then even if Kiefer doesn't stay and Tina's still in the game, I don't know again that she would stay over Tina anymore. It was looking like she might, but at this point in the game, it's looking like perhaps not. So I felt like I was going to be generous and go with a 5, but I'm going to go down to a 4 for Tara. I think she still would need to pull out some miracle comp wins toward the end if she wants any chance of winning this game, and that probably includes winning the next HOH, which is, at the end of the day, it's going to be luck as to whether or not it's something she can win. So it's a 4 for me for Tara. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually a 4 for Tara as well. And for those of you who are going to say, what? Kiefer is probably going home and Tara's not. You're giving Kiefer and Tara the same score? Well, yes, because I actually see Kiefer winning if he stays versus I don't know if I see Tara winning even though she's staying. So, like, I think that she has a harder road to win versus Kiefer if he stays. So, because now there's, like, the idea that Kiefer might stay, I think that does put them on a somewhat equal playing field right now. I think, yeah, like Terrence said, I think it's great that she won the veto. I think she can absolutely use that. I mean, prior to this, she really couldn't, like, argue anything when it came to, like, what she's done in the game. So I do think this is very good for her. And, yeah, got to give her a 4.
It's not here.
All right. The audience is at a 4 with Tara as well. So there you go. Let's talk about Tina. Let's talk about Tina. Let's start with Melissa. How do you feel about Tina?
Yeah, I don't feel great about Tina. The fact that, number one, she's on the block and might go home. And number two, I don't know if I see her winning at this point. She hasn't really done anything. I feel like she was in such a good position for so long, but it was like she didn't really need to do anything. But now we're kind of getting towards the end, and like, you got to do something. So this is not great, and not only that, she might even go home this week. So, I do not feel great about her. So I've got to go down with my Tina score and give her a 4.
Asia, what do you think?
Yeah, it sucks because if she stays, I still think she's in a good position because the trio would still have their sights set on Tara, I would think, in a situation where if they put up Tara, Tina, or if they put up Brayden, they're going to try to get out Brayden. And so that's why I'm really torn. I would like to start seeing her be way more active than she has been, and not just because she's on the block, but because we are in the final 3 weeks of the game, and you need to start doing something. You can't hang on to the fact that, hey, I was the leader of the Sunsetters in the first couple of weeks. So I think, oh my gosh, this is tough because, yeah, what is her win equity? Yeah, and I can't see her winning. I mean, I could see her winning against Tara, but I couldn't see that. That's if Kiefer leaves.
Oh, fuck off,
But
game.
against the trio, like if Tina's against the trio, I don't know, because Kiefer was preaching, hey, I'm going to make sure an oddball wins. So I am going to.
I'm really wasting this much time here.
I'll agree. I'll give her a 4.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna give Tina a 4 prior to the fact that she might leave. I think that I've been so hot and cold with Tina this season. I loved her first week. She was very active, and then she just went so cold, so quiet for so long, and I was like the lowest person on her for so long. And then last week she turned it on. She got big backdoored. She put herself in a great spot.
Damn it.
And I do respect her game. I really do. Because I think that she comes in, I think this is something that you need to put into perspective when it comes to Tina, is that she comes in the oldest person in the house. That's such a huge disadvantage to have coming into the game. She has been unable to win any.
I was gonna end the episode, but it's like I really want to unlock this.
That we've seen, but even so, she's having trouble beating people who are just going to be a little bit faster than her at these things, and that is a huge hurdle to have to jump. And I think she has done an admirable job putting herself in a position where she is safe. And in a position where if she just gets lucky once or twice with a comp outcome, she can really take advantage and go pretty far. But that has not been the case. She has not gotten lucky with those comp outcomes, and she has found herself in a position where it's really starting to become difficult to see how she wins this game. And I think that she is still playing too passively right now. She doesn't see the danger in front of her. I think she needs to. And even if she wasn't potentially leaving this week, I think she still needs to look ahead and see the danger in front of her, because she can't just rely on the Sunsetter thing to get to the 5 or the 4.
Oh fuck, there's the last textbook. Oh fuck off, okay.
All 3
Let's
event
restart
tie
this. Now I know where they all are then.
At least at the final 4, and then again at the final 3. They've made the competitions a little more equitable, but the final 3 competitions generally have a physical component to both parts 1 and 2, and that's gonna be tricky to get to part 3, where she still only has a shot against people who have been studying more than her. So if she can't win those competitions, she cannot win this game. I think that even if she gets taken to the end by somebody betraying the trio, that's just going to give that person credit for betraying the trio, and they're going to win this game. And so Tina is really starting to look like she's in a position where she can't win this game. She needed the oddballs to get some kind of foothold. That was her only shot, and it's the space to do that has just dried up dramatically. Her only real chance to win, either winning out, like I said, or if her, Tara, or Brayden win the HOH next week, take out one of the trio, then they do it again, and then they do it again. And then she has a chance to win. But even now, as you guys have pointed out, Tara has now won more competitions than her and has been a little bit more active in the campaigning than her. And I could see a potential situation where Tara, with more comp wins, ends up getting more credit between the two of them. And she doesn't even have a guaranteed beat against Tara at this point. Certainly not against Brayden. So it's really looking rough for
Alright, next
Tina.
episode,
Even
on
more
here.
rough than Kiefer should she stay versus him staying. And so I'm actually also going to give Tina
20 more goals for that?
because she could also leave, and that would be bad.
Yeah. No, I think you're totally right, and especially about the Tina versus Tara thing. Like, I do think that, like,
we'll figure it out.
because Tara has kind of had to, like, fight for her life a few times here now.